Hello everyone, sorry we can't be with you, but Wendy and I are on our way to Kruger Park for 3 weeks. Poor us. After I retired, Wendy and I went to work in Jerusalem at the Garden Tomb 3 times, each time about 2 months, kind of mission trips. Now Jerusalem is a fascinating city. On the one hand, on the western side you have a thoroughly modern city with very modern transport system, and nothing built before 1948. On the other hand, on the east side, you have the old city of Jerusalem, surely the most fascinating old city in the world. And inside it's an absolute labyrinth of bazaars and churches and holy sites. And everywhere history, not all ancient history. This is the Zion Gate. You see the bullet marks around it. Those are from machine guns in 1967. And everywhere you see the Israeli military. This is St. Stephen's Gate. And one night, a female Israeli soldier was stabbed to death by an Arab right here, when we were asleep 500 meters away. This is the Damascus Gate, the closest gate to the Garden Tomb, very beautiful at night, and we came down at night. We weren't afraid like we would be in South Africa, because the tensions are between Arab and Jew, not particularly directed against tourists. And then 300 meters up the little road and you come to the sign for the Garden Tomb. And I want to invite you to come inside and let me give you a little tour, because that was my job. People would come by the busloads and then I would take them around the garden and get half an hour to talk to them. One time we were there in December and it was so cold. It was like working for 8 hours in a fridge. The Garden Tomb is a garden of about 4.5 acres just north of the old city wall. We would start by going off to the right and look over the back wall of the garden, across a bus station, and there was a strange little cliff that was shaped very like a skull. It's called Skull Hill. And there I would get to talk to people for 10 minutes about the crucifixion of Jesus. It was a great privilege. And then clockwise around the garden they would be able to look down into a massive water cistern cut out of solid rock. You have to be rich to do that, so at least this shows us that sometime this garden belonged to someone really wealthy. Was it Joseph of Arimathea? We don't know for sure. And then around the corner they uncovered an ancient wine press, a sign that at some time in ancient times this was a vineyard, a garden, just as it says in the Bible. And then of course down the stairs to the tomb itself, what everybody wanted to see, and they would crowd through the little door. And there was the place where they would have put Jesus' body, not on the floor, up on the marble shelf that you can see has been removed long ago.
I had 2 tasks at the garden. The one was to assist in the bookshop, and it was wonderful to meet people from all over the world. The other was to prepare communion and then lay it out in the different meeting places where we would hear people sing wonderful worship songs. I think we heard Because He Lives in about 20 different languages. It was a privilege.
Now the thing I enjoyed most about being at the Garden Tomb was you never knew who would walk in through the door. One time this delightful group of people from the Western Cape, not very wealthy people, but an amazing woman called Florence had made it her calling to find a cheap way to bring her people to the Garden Tomb. And while they were there, who should walk in through the door but Angus Buchan? They couldn't have been more excited if Jesus himself had walked in. And the people come in their thousands. This particular group is a group of young people off a cruise ship, and I'm sure that very few of them were Christians or had even heard the gospel. And I got to speak the gospel to them for half an hour. And then one day a delightful Jewish family walked in the door. A mother, father and 2 children. The father told me that they were secular Jews, but they'd come to see what this was about. And for half an hour I got to share the gospel with them. These are 2 of their little girls, and they must be in their 20s by now. And I've wondered, what has the Lord done with that little bit of seed that was sown? And so it's been our privilege to serve at the Garden Tomb. One of the nicest things we've ever done.